All right, we are live. This is. Oh, shoot. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not sure if I can do this to begin with. I'm not sure if I can change that. Uh-oh.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. I wasn't sure if I did that or if you did that.
Excuse me, I was messing with the volume and bloop, there it went. Oh, goodness.
So thank you for joining us. Obviously, this is for members only. I'm not sure if I actually pushed the button to do members only before this started because I was too preoccupied. So some people might be able to get in here. I'm not sure. But we're going to keep these short each week. We're going to be doing these once a week. We're going to try and keep them about 30 minutes. He won't eat right now because I'm up here or down here. Yeah. All right. So we are going to be touching on astrology.
Yeah.
Each week we are going to go through, and I was going to see if I could do this really quick. Oops. All right, let me get rid of that. Let me pull up the other one. So for anyone that does not have it yet, if you remember, email me, and I put it in the chat at support@amethystascension.com, and I will email this document to you. But let me do this.
It's awesome. I love it.
All right, where is it? Downloads. Let me pull it up here. All right, there we go. And then I should be able to share. Let's see. Share screen. There we go.
Oh, that's awesome. Good job.
All right.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, sis, when you were looking at this particular spreadsheet, you said that this kind of all put it into, made it easier for you a little bit?
Oh, my goodness, yes, because, I mean, if you know what the planets are or what the signs are, and then knowing what each house means, and this is like a no-brainer when you look at it. It's I don't know, it makes it easier. It's so much simpler than, reading a book about what each one means and then putting your, because this you just write in what your sign is in each house, and there you go.
Exactly. So I'm just doing this, going through, showing you the basic stuff this week. Next week, we are going to start with actually talking about the different like planets and what that means. Okay. But I will be suggesting at the end of this one today, places for you to go and get your astrological chart done. So that as you're looking at these, you can refer back to what we are talking about at the same time as looking at your actual chart. This doesn't really matter if it's Vedic. It's a little bit different in Vedic, which I can pull up one of mine and show you, which I'll have it ready for the next time. But essentially, it's not going to matter what system you're using.
Right.
It's about the actual things in that system.
Yep.
So first things first, I want to talk about that we have 12 different signs of the zodiac. The very first sign of the zodiac is Aries, which you will see here. Oops, I should, instead of pointing with my finger, here we go. You will see that Aries is number 1. And then you move all the way around the zodiac till you get to 12. Now, something else that I have done for you is you will see that there are 4 different, just like in tarot or just like in witchy stuff, there's the 4 elements. We've got earth, well, we've got fire, earth, air, water. Now, the first sign of the zodiac is a fire sign. Now, if you follow it around, it goes fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water.
Oh, interesting. See, I didn't know that.
Now, also, if you go down below and look at the polarity, which I have right here. So you have feminine and you have masculine. All your earth signs are feminine and your water signs are feminine. Your air signs are masculine and fire signs are masculine. So you'll know what you are on the chart by whether or not it's masculine or feminine, depending on whether it's a fire, earth, air, or water. Okay. Another thing to look at down in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see the different modalities. I'm sure you've heard of people talk about cardinal signs, fixed signs, or mutable signs, and what that means. So the cardinal signs are your Aries, your Cancer. Where am I here? Yep, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. They are the very first of each, like beginning of each season. So they are the sign that is like the beginning of a season that's coming in, which means that they are the starters. If you look down below, they are the initiators. They are the, some might say, like leaders. Okay. So they're the ones, they're the signs that are really good at like starting new projects or inspiring people or, you know, initiating some new change or some new project or some new business or initiating maybe contact with somebody in a relationship, right? They're the go-getters. Then you have your fixed signs. Your fixed signs are the ones that are stable. They're like really grounded and they kind of like dig their feet in, right? They're the ones that when the starters initiate it, it is the actual fixed signs that will see it through. They'll see it through to the end. They are the really reliable ones. So what's it say? They preserve, they sustain, and they stabilize. And those are your Taurus, your Leo, your Scorpio, and your Aquarius. So your initiators, if you're looking at a wheel, they're on the outside of a wheel. Your fixed are in the center, okay, in the middle of the wheel. Your mutable signs are in between. They're the ones that are changeable. They're the ones that are flexible. They're the ones that are kind of like mediators. They're not, so change is not quite as hard for these signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. They're more easygoing.
Go with the flow.
Your fixed signs can be like really, really stubborn. You know, they're just like, this is how I want it. This is how it's going to be. This is the way I know it. So this is the way I'm going to keep on doing it. So, whereas your cardinal signs are more like your entrepreneurs, you know, your idea people that start off things. And your mutable ones are the ones that are kind of like the mediator in between. They can go like this if you think about it like that. So another thing, you look at the sun, the moon. Now, I put all of the different symbols in this. And the reason I put all of the symbols is because once you actually get your own chart, you know, printed off, these symbols are going to be on your chart. And what I mean by symbols is the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Okay. There's going to be other ones too, depending on what kind of systems that you use, which I did not add here because that's like those are not like the basics. That's going a little bit beyond, which is like your Chiron, your Juno, like your asteroids, your north node, south node. We will get into that later on. But I wanted to show the basics. So this particular worksheet is like a cheat sheet kind of thing, where all your information is all at once. So when we talk about Aries, Aries being a fire sign, Aries are the ones that say, I am. Okay. So with Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, they are the beginners, the initiators, right? So to put this into perspective, people have talked about houses. Okay. Well, what are houses? So if you go down to the houses down below, and then you look at those in correspondence to the wheel up above. So Aries is the first sign, right? So that would symbolize the first house. Okay. That doesn't mean it's your first house, but that is what the first house is always. But you might have a different planet in that house, which I will touch on that. So the first one, the first house symbolizes like yourself, your body, your clothing, the way you present yourself to people. The second house is based off of Taurus, which is an earth sign. So it has to do with your money, your possessions, your home, stuff like that, things that you can inherit from your family. Okay, that would be the second house. The third house is based off of Gemini. And as you can see also along the outside of this chart that I created, because I tried to make this a cheat sheet. So if you look at Aries, for instance, if you go down below the rams, which it's associated with the ram, you'll see that is the actual symbol for the Aries.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like this. It's like a representation of Aries, right? If you go all the way up, you'll see that next to the fire sign and the I am, because that is like the association is I am. That's how they say an Aries. You'll see the Mars sign because Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. We will get in next week. We will be touching on what the planets mean. Okay. But so the next one you'll see is Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. If you look at your chart over to the left, it's ruled by Venus. And then if you look at Gemini, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And then we move on to Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Leo is ruled by the sun. Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. And Libra is ruled by Venus. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which looks like a 4, kind of like a fancy 4.
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which kind of looks like an H with a line through it. And then you've got Aquarius that is ruled by Uranus, and you have Pisces that is ruled by Neptune. So Neptune, it looks like, if you think about this also, it looks like the trident.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the
trident. The trident, yes. And that is a watery planet. So, of course, Pisces, being a water sign, is ruled by Neptune. So, as I was saying down below, you've got your third house, which is represented by Gemini. And that is about networking. That's about neighborhood. That can be about siblings. It's about like maybe local stores that you go to. It's like your neighborhood, the things that happen in your local area and things that like come into your, the people that come into your life every day, siblings, partners, networking, that kind of thing. Not necessarily partners, but kind of partners. It can kind of go in there. And then we've got Cancer, which is the fourth house, which is home, family, and foundations. Okay. The Then we've got the 5th house, which is creativity and entertainment, the things that we do for fun. And that is Leo. And then we've got the 6th house, which is like health, day-to-day life, the routines that we do. That's also part of everyday stuff, but it's like the stuff that we have responsibilities towards, not just the, like going shopping and the people that come into contact, but it's like the actual stable things that we have in our life, including the things that we do on a daily basis, whether or not you do yoga, whether or not the way that you eat, that's all going to kind of fall into the 6th house, which is also symbolized by Virgo. So then we've got the 7th house, which is Libra. Libra is all about partnerships and marriage, right? It's that love. It's that kind of stuff that is in your 7th house. And that is ruled by Venus. So then we've got in our 8th house, transformations. I'm sure you know which one that is without even looking, don't you? Transformations, that's Scorpio. Yes.
Yep.
Scorpios, they're known for being extremely deep. They are known for life and death kind of things. They it's almost like they straddle between here and the hereafter kind of thing, because they're extremely deep. Spiritual. So then we've got the 9th house, which is Sagittarius. And that is about spirituality in the big picture. And as you can see, all of the little terms by the 1st house, 2nd house, up in the wheel, you'll see Taurus is I have, Gemini is I think, Cancer is I feel. And think about those in regards to their elements, and also think about those in regards to their polarity, whether they're positive or whether they're feminine or masculine. And we will get more into detail about what feminine means and what masculine means, because it doesn't mean female and male. It's different than that. But so then we see I show for Leos, because Leos are like, they love being the center of attention. It's because the sun rules them. So they like to be joyful and boisterous, and they like to be in the light, And then we've got Virgo, I analyze. We've got Libra, I relate, because Libra, they are the peacekeepers. They like to have balance, right? And they like justice. So I relate. They're very, they would probably be good politicians as well if they didn't let things affect them so deeply, because it can throw them off. If somebody's like highly emotional, it can like throw you off. Then we've got I transform, which was the Scorpio. We've got I seek, which is Sagittarius. Now we're to the 10th house, which is based off of Capricorn. I utilize. And the 10th house is career, reputation, and public. So the public life. So then we go on to the 11th house, which is Aquarius. And it is I'm different. They are known as like the humanitarians. They're known as extravagant, or what is the other word? There's no, I can't think of it offhand. Eccentric. There you go. That's the word. And that particular house is support, causes, and your peers, which falls right in line with humanitarians, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are like your, if they have money, they are like your benefactors. They are like your philanthropy. They like to give, and they like to but they can be very stubborn also, because they're fixed sign. But anyways, so theirs is I'm different. And then of course the last house, which is the 12th house, which is Pisces. That is about secrets, the private you that other people don't see, that you don't always show, and like your shadow. A little bit of the, it's really deep. And Pisces, they are really known for almost probably one of the most psychic. Definitely your really psychic signs. And I don't want you to look at it just like it's your sun, because the sun, although it's important, there are many aspects of your chart, and we're gonna be learning about that because of different houses, and certain houses that are more aspected may be stronger because of it being actually your planet in that particular house, whether or not you were born during a retrograde or what have you. Okay, so the Pisces, they are, it says, I imagine they are the dreamy fantasy, the secretive side, the side that is like deep and psychic and very much inside of themselves. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is how to find how that correlates, like the houses. How do they correlate? How do you find, like, if you know what your sun sign is, or when you're born and you know your rising sign, then how do you know what your house is, how they fall into line? And this is how this works. Your rising sign is the sign that is coming up on the time of your birth. It's coming up around the horizon of your birth. That dictates what your houses are, because your rising sign is your first house.
Ascendant.
Rising sign, ascendant. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just how you, but yes, they are going to say ascendant as well, or rising, depending on where you go to get your chart. But essentially, they are exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so if, let's say, for instance, for me, in Western astrology, I am a Cancer rising. So you see, Cancer is house 4, right? Or the 4th sign of the zodiac. So that would be my first house. So my second house would be Leo. My third house would be Virgo. My 4th house would be Libra, because essentially that makes that 4th house, or that 4th sign, my number 1 for houses. Do you see how that works, Carla?
Okay, no. See, I thought that, like, the first house that had Aries, I thought that my Virgo would be in there, because Virgo is my ascendant. So that's not how that works.
Okay. So your rising sign is Virgo, right?
Yes.
So Virgo is your first house.
So Virgo is my first house, which
Virgo is the zodiac sign that is in your first house.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's my first. Oh, that's number 1, actually, even though
that would be number 1. Here. So when you look at the chart, because it always goes in order, because it's a circle, it's round. So the next one, which is Libra after that, would be Libra in your second house. Is that correct on your chart that you have there?
Mm-hmm.
And then your third house would be Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
Your 4th house would be Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm.
Your 5th house would be Capricorn. Your 6th house would be Aquarius and Pisces, and then Aries, and on and on. That's how you do it. Without having a chart, as long as you know your rising sign, then you know. But here's the thing. So if you have, let's look at, let's say, Sagittarius being in your 4th house, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Sagittarius in your 4th house. Your 4th house is home, family, and foundations.
Uh-huh.
So another question to ask is, is there a planetary system that is in your 4th house as well?
Well, the moon, and then
okay, so the moon is in your 4th house?
The moon is Cancer, right?
The moon is no.
Okay, yeah, I'm confused.
Okay. Okay. So when you printed that off,
Mm-hmm.
does it actually give you a chart, a wheel?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the moon sign?
Yes.
Look at what house that moon sign is on in that wheel that you got printed off.
It shows it's in Cancer.
Okay. Then if your moon was in Cancer and your fourth house is Sagittarius, then it's not in your fourth house. What house? You said it's in Cancer. So what house is that in? Follow it around. That would be in your 10th house, right?
My Cancer is in the 11th house.
11th house. Okay. Okay. So 11th house is support, causes, and peers.
And that's where the moon would go then.
The moon is in your 11th house, right?
Oh, gotcha.
So,
You are a good teacher.
so tell me what is in your fourth house. Find your fourth house. And is there any planetary symbols? Look at the planetary
Jupiter.
symbols.
It's Jupiter.
Okay. So Jupiter is also known as the very, wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So Sagittarius is in your fourth house and Jupiter is in your fourth house. Your fourth house is very, very well aspected because Jupiter is the luckiest, the most auspicious planet that there is. They
And
are
home and family and foundation.
right.
And that's how I've always measured my success anyway.
Exactly. And that is true. But here's the thing too, Carla. Sagittarius is also very much associated with spirituality and the big picture. So you find a lot of your spirituality and big picture stuff in your home life and your family. You see how astrology is like a friggin' blueprint, right?
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. So let's do another, for instance. So partners and marriage. Look for your seventh house. Your seventh house, if your first house is Virgo, right?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Your seventh house has got, am I right? Pisces in it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So Pisces being secrets and private and shadow and stuff like that. The really deep, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And your seventh house is about partnerships and marriage, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see, without us revealing a whole bunch of shit, how fitting that is for your life.
Big time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Neptune, although is what, transformation?
Neptune is transformation. Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yes. As a matter of fact, let me read it to you. But I'm just really, we're going to be touching on all the planets. We'll probably have time to go over the planets. And because we got to cut this short here, we're at almost 30 minutes. We might go a couple minutes over that just because of having a late start and all that. But so Neptune, this is what Neptune is. Next time you hear yourself sigh or feel yourself slip into a daydream, think of Neptune. This is the planet in charge of romance, nostalgia, and magic. Although her official title is head of the Department of Avoidance and Fantasy, she's also, did you say Neptune? Yeah, because Neptune is for Pisces.
Right. The 12th house is Neptune is over the 12th house, which has Pisces in it. Yeah.
Right. But, well, it's based off of that. So Neptune is in what house for you, though?
7th house.
Okay. So this is the kind of energy that's also in your 7th house because Neptune is in your 7th house.
Yes.
Wherever she is in your chart is where your psychic It's also where your, oh my gosh, yes, Carla. She's a
Mhm.
Pete. It's
Mhm.
also where you're capable of amazing compassion and sensitivity for beings and creatures less fortunate than yourself, which is your family, right? Your seventh house partners. But this is partnership.
Yeah.
These are your partners. But this could also be partners that you like have a business with or in a group with.
Yeah, I know everything
Exactly.
about everyone.
It's where
And
you'll
it's
be
all
drawn
'cause they
into
told me.
charity or volunteer work because you realize that we're all a part of a bigger plan, that there's no boundaries between you and what's out there. This combination of sensitivity and harsh reality doesn't always mix well. This
Mm.
will also be a place where you'll try to escape. Sleep, meditation, and prayer are the highest uses of her energy. But alcohol and drugs are also under her jurisdiction.
Ooh.
Yeah. Neptune's place in your chart is where um, you're equally capable of fooling all of the people all of the time and of being fooled yourself. Because remember, this is your like fantasy. This is like your shadow,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, in your body. Neptune and the moon co-rule fluids. Neptune also has a connection with poisons and viruses that invisibly infiltrate our bodies and with the body's immune system, which is
Hmm.
how we keep our barriers intact.
Hmm.
How interesting.
Yeah,
So that's
very.
just to show you an inkling. So my advice for if anybody's watching this, and I know we only have 2 members right now, but email me at support@amethystascension.com and I will email this particular spreadsheet to you. You can put your notes down or you can use it in conjunction. What I would like to see for people to do, if you feel that this is something that you want to do, and let me take this off of here now.
Man, it just makes so much sense. Like when people say your Mercury was in your Mars, or I didn't really understand that. Now I
Well, no, your
do.
Mercury would not be in your Mars, but they could be in conjunction together. It could be Mercury was in like your 4th house. So like for
Right.
instance, we've got this retrograde, right?
Yeah.
So what house, that would be the question. What house is Mercury in right now? That's the big thing.
Okay, I see. I see. And we'll find that out later, right?
Yeah, you and I can talk about it. And that is something each week I want to keep it as simple as possible with
Mhm.
spreadsheets. So the next week I'm going to probably go down and we're going to be talking about the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Earth, all of the planets and what those meanings are, what that particular, what that planet represents.
Cool.
Because not only do we have our zodiac signs that are in certain houses, but we also have planets that are in certain zodiac signs that are within houses. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And something can be like, let me give you a for instance. I have never felt like a friggin' Capricorn, even though I'm a Capricorn. I've never felt like a Capricorn. I was like, no, that's not me, because it's like they're always driven, money. I'm also extremely compassionate and giving, and I just always felt like that limited me. Well, come to find out, I'm only 1%. I'm 1 degree into Capricorn and sidereal. So each house has, so when you're looking at the wheel, if you look at Capricorn or any of them, each one of them, the circle is 360 degrees. So each one of the houses is 30 degrees roughly. So that means I'm only 1 degree inside of Capricorn and my sun sign. 29 degrees of that is in Sagittarius.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of them go by full houses. It doesn't say, it just says my sun sign is Capricorn.
Well, the reason I was asking you about Mercury and Mars is because Mercury is in the 6th house of Virgo, but my Virgo is in Aries. So doesn't that mean that Mercury is in my 1st house?
Okay, say that again.
Virgo in the 6th house, you know,
Which is your 1st house.
Right.
You said you're a Virgo rising. So that's actually your 1st house.
Right. But in Virgo is Mercury. So if Aries actually rules the 1st house or whatever, that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Starts like that. That really is irrelevant, correct?
No, it definitely does matter. So if it's saying that the planet Mercury is in your 1st house,
yeah,
then the self and body is going to be, and that's another area that we'll get to, is very much a Virgo energy. But on top of that, Virgo is ruled by Mercury because it doesn't, your planets and your signs don't have to match up.
Right. No, what I was asking though is because
even more so, you are more so Virgo. You see what I'm saying? It is exalted because it's more powerful Virgo. Because you could have had something like, because Mercury is about thought and it's about communication. It is the mental planet. Whereas Mars is about like war and it's a fiery planet that's it's known as like more of a masculine planet, whereas Venus is more feminine, but it's like more war and confrontation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that is usually what rules Aries.
Right. That's what I was wondering. Does that mean anything that Mercury is in the house where Mars, like, kind of, what does it reside there? How does that work? That's what I'm wondering.
No, because Mercury is in your actual chart. The houses are based on like fixed structure.
Okay, so it's just that's how they get the meaning. It doesn't mean that
it's about the body. It's about your first impressions, how people see you. Doesn't mean that's who you really are, but that's what you project to people is the 1st house. So you project yourself as Virgo, and very Virgo because Mercury is also in that house, and Mercury is the ruling planet of Virgo.
Okay.
So you are exalted, or you are it's even more powerful.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? So like, for instance, me, although I was born, Saturn rules Capricorn, which is another reason that I was trying to get to, because Saturn rules Capricorn, and I was 1 degree in Capricorn when I was born, right? So that was considered my sun sign. Your sun sign is the most important sign, at least in Western. And Vedic astrology, they consider your rising sign to be, when someone says, what's your sign in Vedic, it's usually representing your rising sign, not your sun sign. But I was actually born during a retrograde in Saturn. So that's pulls even less power. That's why I felt like I wasn't a Capricorn, because really, it's like I hardly have any Capricorn in me. But one of my houses, or in one of my signs, I have 4 planets in Scorpio on my chart. 4 of my houses, or 4 of my 4 planets, are all in Scorpio, in the zodiac sign of Scorpio. So do you understand what that means? At the time that I was born, from the viewpoint of the Earth, the 4 planets that I'm talking about were all within the zodiac sign of Scorpio at the time I was born.
Wow. Yeah. So I can see a lot of influence.
Right.
At least. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll understand that more as you start learning about what each planet represents, what each zodiac sign represents, and how those things merge together or compete with each other. Because certain houses will rule out, certain planets will be like exalted, or I can't remember the actual term. So where they're not aspected in a good light within certain, you know what I mean? So anyways, we're at like 40 minutes. So we should cut this off. Like I said, whoever's watching this, email me at support@amethystascension.com. I also put it in the chat if you're watching this. I will send you this worksheet. Next week, we are going to be touching on the planets, the sun, the moon, and the whole works, and talking about what they mean. And also, if you go to like Astro Charts, ASTRO/charts.com, you can print off, as long as you have your time of birth, day of birth, and where you were born. If you do not know your actual time of birth, either ask somebody to rule it down for you the closer you can get to the actual time. If you can't, then just put in noon on that day. Okay, and we'll go from there.
Gotcha.
All right, because some people cannot get access to their charts, but print it off, and the next time you come, but look at it and see if you can correlate any of this worksheet and try to understand it a little bit better, and we will be touching on that next week. So thank you, sis. This was so much fun.
I learned a lot. Thank you.
Yes. And I'll also show you coming up maybe next week how, like when we have a full moon, how to find what house that full moon is going to be affecting you, or when we have like a new moon, so that you know how to set intentions and stuff like that, and you can follow the chart around to see how it affects you personally. Okay,
sounds excellent.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for being a member. I hope that you find this useful and enjoying this journey with us with the astrology. And we're sending you love and light.